Okay, so we know for a while that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was supposed to be released sometime next year. We didn't know exactly when, but the other day we learned that this game is coming exclusively to the PS5 on February 29th of 2024. And I do feel that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to end up being one of the more high-profile video games to come out in 2024 because a lot of like the big stuff that people have been waiting years to see came out in 2023, and I don't think 2024 is going to be as big of a video game year in terms of high profile releases as 2023. And obviously with Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, basically we're going to get a new story which is supposed to be following the events of Final Fantasy 7 Remake, which came out back in 2020, which was a huge commercial success. And obviously Square Enix is doing everything in their power to milk as much as they can out of the Final Fantasy 7 name, because that's probably one of the few like titles um Square Enix has that a lot of casuals like know about, that has been largely successful in terms of gaining mainstream attention. And as far as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is concerned, we do know that Cloud Strife is going to return as the main protagonist. And that's a pretty good thing, considering the fact that Cloud Strife is probably one of the most popular characters in the entire series. Tifa Lockhart's going to be up there as well. Barrett Wallace is going to be up there, I believe. And and yeah, it's pretty much a continuation of Final Fantasy VII, the remake. And as it currently stands, like the game is listed online for $69.99 with the rating still pending. And obviously, this is going to be like rated T or something like that, because just about every like Final Fantasy game that has come out in the past decade or so has been rated T, with the exception of Final Fantasy 16, which just came out a couple of months ago, and that was rated M. And even though like the whole rated M concept for Final Fantasy 16 was cool, um, for the most part, the game didn't sell as much as it should have, and that's something that I covered in another video. And and yeah, I mean, I feel like the Final Fantasy series is still relevant because Square Enix continues to make installments, and even though they sell millions and stuff like that, it's not quite as good as some of the older stuff that they end up remaking, like Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy 12 and all that other stuff. And basically with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, there's a lot to look forward to. You have we're supposed to be getting a better battle system than we got in Remake. We're supposed to be getting a more expansive world. You could, I believe, you'd be able to like ride chocobos in this game and all that. And for those who decide to get the deluxe edition of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, you'll be able to have a art book, a mini soundtrack, and a steel bookcase. And I'm not exactly sure how much the Rebirth Deluxe Edition is going to be priced, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was damn near $100, because um, Square Enix is obviously going to do everything they can to try and get as much out of this game as they possibly can. Do I see Final Fantasy VII Rebirth surpassing Remake in terms of sales? I'm not exactly sure, but for the most part, it seems like it's been hyped enough to a point where it's going to at least do like 1 or 2 million within the first like week or so. Hopefully, it's nothing like Final Fantasy 16 where it sold like 3 mil in its like first month, and then you don't hear too much afterwards. But this is Final Fantasy 7 we're talking about, the 7 series, not Final Fantasy 16. People know the story of Final Fantasy 7, and if anything, this game is probably going to serve as like a prequel or prelude to Final Fantasy 8 in terms of like storyline. I do feel that Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth definitely has the potential of being one of the best, RPG games of 2024. But I don't know. I mean, we're gonna have to just wait and see, how this game gets viewed by critics and by gaming publications. And we're just gonna have to wait and see what the sales figures for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to look like once the game is released early in 2024.